Listen, guys, I think over 75% of you aren't even subscribed to this YouTube channel. The people that watch this, 75% of the people that watch are not subscribed. If you guys, appreciate the content, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button and let me see you in the comment sections. I want to know what you guys think of what I think about this. I want to know if you guys think that I'm bugging. Please let me know. I want to see if you guys got your predictions right. And I also want to see some predictions for the semifinals, which is Rum Nitty versus Cortez and KCJ versus Gichigati. That's it. And see you in 2 weeks. As you guys may know, last night, round 2 of Ultimate Madness 3 went down. 8 people battled and 4 remain. And while these semifinals are 2 weeks away, I feel like before that happens, there are a few things that I need to pick apart, along with the actual recap of round 2 and how the battles went down. I feel like there's something severely missing. I said that in the URL chat. I said that while I hosted the battle. And I actually think it's the addition of things. I don't like the crowds. I cannot express to you how much I do not like crowds of people being there for the tournament setting. I felt like although Gichigati beat Swamp, his people were behind him, and Swamp was rapping to absolute crickets for 3 rounds straight. And I feel like with favoritism in the crowd comes silence to the other people that do not want to go against the grain. It is a serious problem. I thought Gichigati was better than Swamp, but that could very well play a part in the next 2 weeks. And I don't like it. I didn't like it when I beat Ryda. I agreed with Sirius Jones, even though, it was a debatable battle and could have went either way. I still thought the crowd played a huge part. You have to understand that your subconscious is exactly that. It's your subconscious. You can tell yourself that you're not going to judge battles based off crowd reaction, but let me tell you something. You might as well be. You might be, and you might not even know that you're doing it. We are swayed by emotions. We are swayed by actions. We're swayed by a lot. So I think the one thing that UM3 is missing that UM1 and kind of UM2 did not have was crowds. Ultimate Madness 1 was incredible because it was silence. There was nobody around them. It was nothing but them, and it was great to watch. It was 2 MCs against each other, and there was nothing to sway you. There was nothing to sway you. There was 0 crowd. There was 0 reaction, 0 anything. And UM3 is severely missing that aspect of the tournament style. As far as KCJ versus Prep, KCJ was levels beyond a KCJ that I've ever seen before. It was actually kind of surprising how much better she was. She sounded like a completely different battle rapper. Wild intricacy. All her setups were very well put together, extremely tailored. The punchlines were very strong, and her energy was there. Her energy was there finally. And I think she said it best. She let twerk affect her, and I could actually understand that. I think when I was kind of wondering where Casey's energy was, I wasn't really thinking about twerk affecting her. When Saga was choking against me, it bothered me, but it didn't change me, but it bothered me, and it could have changed me. And I think twerk fucking up changed Casey. When Prep fucked up, listen, I said this on my live, and if I were to be any use my professional expertise as far as from what I saw, I think I know exactly what happened with Prep. And it's the same thing that happened with me and Bill Collector. Sometimes you focus so much on the performance aspect of a 4-bar setup that by the time you get to the end of that setup, you're so heavily focused on the performance and not the actual lyricism, so you forget that next transition. I think Prep pulling out the paper, looking at the camera, turning left, turning right, putting all the energy into the prop, putting all the energy into the performance, I think he got lost in that performance. And then when that performance ended and it was time to actually get into your round, he was left completely empty. He had no idea where he was. And I think that's what I caught. That's what I caught on. It wasn't just a choke. I think it was almost a choke that he brought onto himself. As you can see, when he finally did get it back, he remembered his entire round, which, good for him. And in my head, I'm sure a lot of people in their heads as well was like, end the round. I mean, the round's over. It doesn't even matter anymore. Just cut it off. But, he continued. But KCJ clearly beat him. I think Prep needs to work on his angles. A lot of people have been trying angles lately. And I think what people have to understand is there has to be power in it. There has to be power in the angle itself. You can't just, take something petty and speak on it. You can't take something weak and expand on something that really doesn't need expansion. So, I mean, shout out to Casey J, completely different battle rapper than I've ever seen her. Everything was there. And, shout out to her. The next battle we had was Swamp versus Geechee. Now, this is a problem. This is a problem that I saw in the battle. This is a problem that I heard during my tournament. This is a problem that I saw versus Sirius Jones and Rum Nitty. There is still, with crowds comes favoritism. That's it. There is no way around that. With crowds come favoritism. And you saw that versus Swamp and Geechee. I thought that battle was extremely close. Extremely close. I had Geechee winning, but you can literally hear the fact that he had people with him in the background. I mean, the last tournaments I was in, the super fight I was in, you weren't even allowed a fucking +1. I think Geechee's bullying the Caffeine staff. Shout out to Gichi for strong arming the fucking staff. But I felt like he had at least 5 or 6 people with him. And let me tell you something, that's just enough. That's all you need. That's all you need. If the crowd has 15 people in it and you got 5, that other 10 doesn't want to go against the grain when everyone else is reacting to you. Swamp was rapping in front of crickets all 3 rounds, and I thought he was cooking all 3 rounds. Salute to him, but I had Geechee winning that. Listen, Geechee and Casey, obviously this is battle rap. Anything can happen. I had Prep going to the finals. I had T-Top beating Jackboy. I had Drugs beating Nitty. Anything could happen in these finals. It's an absolute free-for-all in these tournaments, absolute free-for-all. Anything could happen, but I think Geechee has now bought himself a golden ticket to the finals, and really, Nitty and Cortez, anything could happen again, but it's really looking like a Nitty versus Gichigati rematch, which is great because they actually, when they battled, it was outside, and it really wasn't, it wasn't anything that was actually promoted, and although the battle turned out good, we didn't really get an official Gichigati Rum Nitty battle. I felt like it was just a fun battle that they did, but I do see them making it to the finals. And yes, although Geechee beat Swamp, by himself, there was for sure the crowd that played a part in swaying, and the judges. And we're gonna get into the judges because I have a serious problem with a few things that went on last night. And I'm not gonna quote people in its entirety, but we'll get into this later. So I had Geechee winning the battle, rightfully so. They gave him the battle. Now, the next battle we had was Drugs versus Rum Nitty. Now, Rum Nitty, he's Rum Nitty, man. He's Rum Nitty. Drugs had an amazing approach, and Drugs had a great angle. And to be honest, Rum Nitty is so good at punching that he almost gets by on just punching. Rum Nitty, a lot of his bars can be fit to anybody. And although he does have Drugs name flips, although he does name flip opponents, I can't say everything that Rum Nitty says can be applied to anybody, but he does have a lot of bars that are just bars. They're just punches. You know what Rum Nitty's coming with every single battle. And although Drugs, I thought, took the right approach, you have to angle Rum Nitty, you have to talk to Nitty, you have to point certain things out. I thought he did, but I thought the strength of Rum Nitty's punches overpowered the strength of Drugs' execution of an angle. I thought the angle was great. I also thought that he was bombing on him in the first and the third round as well. I thought Drugs did very good. But when you're going against someone like Rum Nitty, very good usually isn't enough. Unless it's a fuck up on his end. But all the salute to Drugs. An incredible first round versus Yoshi G. I think Drugs has found his style. Him finding angles and really expanding on angles is beautiful. He executed it perfectly versus Yoshi G. He did it greatly versus Rum Nitty. And I think going forward, that is going to be an attack that Drugs uses. And I'm glad that we got to see him put that in his arsenal. And I'm glad we got to see him become a more versatile battle rapper. Great battle. I had Rum Nitty winning that battle. Rightfully so, the judges gave it to him. So here's where my problem lies. And I didn't just see it versus with Jackboy and Cortez. I noticed it in a couple battles. And to be honest, after Jackboy and Cortez, I was out of it. From a professional standpoint, from a battle rapper's, I know Murder Mook said I can't really judge battle rap because I'm white. I've been rapping for 18 years. I've been battling for 8. Probably battling for 12 years if you want to count all the battles that I had in high school and middle school and battling people on MySpace and all that other shit. I've been doing this for a long time. And one thing that I can do is catch on to the intricacy of material. Now, I'm not perfect. Obviously, there's certain references, certain TV shows I never watched, certain characters in a movie I never looked at, certain, there's, you can't get everything, but you could certainly, I can understand the intricacy of people. With that being said, Jackboy clearly won that first round. Jackboy was absolutely relentless with his style. It was haymaker after haymaker, setup after setup. Everything was punched perfect. Everything was intricate. His delivery was on point. Jackboy's first round was the round of the night. Round of the night. And although Cortez matched the energy of Jackboy, he did not match the lyricism. He did not match the volume of punching. When he did punch, it was weaker than Jackboy's. Cortez he kept up with the energy. He did not keep up with the material. I actually gave Jackboy every single round. I thought he also took the second round. I thought the second round, once again, he floated. Relentless. Absolutely relentless. Setup after setup after setup. All executed down the line. Didn't miss a beat. At all. Cortez also had an incredible second round. That second round is a toss-up. Their third round's weakest from both of them, but I thought Jackboy's was a little stronger. I thought Cortez's round was a little weaker than Jack's. Now, although that third round wasn't exciting from both, I'd still given it to Jackboy. And I get you could give Cortez the second round, and once again, before you guys get on me, there is no robbery here. Shout out to Cortez. They did exactly what I thought they would do, and that would be, 6 very solid rounds, 4 incredible rounds, and then both of their thirds were solid, not great, but solid. It's very rare that you get 6 straight rounds, guys. Am I wrong or am I right? It's very rare that you get, classic performances come from battle rappers being able to produce 3 great rounds, back to back to back, and then also their opponent doing the same. So shout out to Cortez. There is no robbery here. When I say that I got him 3-0, I know a lot of people lose their mind when they hear 3-0. It doesn't mean Cortez got his ass whooped. It just means I thought Jackboy clearly took the first. There's no fucking debating on that first round. And, to hear Tony Bro give the first round to, I think everybody gave the first round except Minnesota Luke, because Minnesota Luke didn't describe anything. When you're a judge, man, I need to hear exactly why you are picking that other artist. I need to know exactly why. And you can't just group 3 rounds into one general statement. And I feel like more than once I've seen 3 rounds grouped into 1 sentence, 2 sentences. I need to hear why you're giving Cortez the first round. I need to hear why you're giving so-and-so the second round. I need to hear why you're giving so-and-so the third round. I need explanations. I don't like no explanations. Now, this is the serious problem that I had. It was time for Minnesota Luke to describe why Cortez beat Jackboy. And I'm going to quote you the exact reason why he gave Cortez the win. He said, and I quote, "In terms of Cortez, I would describe his performance as being a veteran. Overall, I found Cortez to be more polished, so yeah." That was it. He described Cortez as being a veteran. Okay, he is. Being a veteran has nothing to do with it. Veterans are people that have been in the game for a long time. That's all it is. The term veteran, it comes from seniority in the battle rap game. It does not explain somebody's talent. It does not explain somebody's skill level, and it certainly does not explain somebody's performance that night. And the next sentence was, overall, I feel Cortez was more polished. Well, what do you mean by that? What does more polished mean? What does more polished mean? Does more polished means he got through his rounds cleaner? Jackboy didn't choke. Jackboy didn't stumble. If anything, Jackboy was more polished. He was so much more intricate, so much more unorthodox, and didn't stumble for a second. So I would actually look at Jackboy as more polished. And then he said, so yeah. That was the explanation. That was the explanation for why Jackboy didn't advance to a tournament for $100,000. And if you don't see the problem in that, and if Minnesota Luke doesn't see the problem in that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, man, people aren't perfect, but when you describe a battle as if you weren't even watching, I have a problem with that. No explanation whatsoever. He said Cortez sounded like a veteran, and he said Cortez was more polished. So yeah. I mean, I thought the best judge ever besides Tony Bro was Goods, and I think that's because he's a fucking battle rapper. I think we need battle rappers as judges, and I do understand there could be some biasness with certain people, and I understand that there's a fear, and I feel like that's why I haven't been called to judge battles, because I'm pretty sure it's well known that I have an extensive knowledge of this game, and I think I'm one of the better ones when it comes to judging battles. So, but maybe they think that, you know, I'd be biased towards certain guys, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't at all, and I'm very interested, and please let it be known, I'm very interested in being a judge for the next tournament if there is a next tournament. Salute to Cortez making it to the semifinals. We have Cortez versus Rum Nitty. We have KCJ versus Gichigati. And although round 1 wasn't as good as I thought all the other, you know, UM1 and UM2 was, I thought this second round was pretty good. You got a great performance from KCJ. You had an incredible battle between Jackboy and Cortez. You had a great battle between Gichigati and Swamp. And, you know, I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see there's you know, almost all rematches besides Gichigati and KCJ. I think this is the first time that they're battling each other. You have a great rematch between Cortez and Rum Nitty, which could be very exciting. It could be, you know, time for Cortez to avenge his loss to Rum Nitty, I believe, last year. But I need to hear explanations. I need to hear round breakdowns. You don't have to talk all night. You know, you don't have to spend 5 minutes on each round. But I need to know why you're giving somebody the win, other than, you know, I thought he was good and then I thought that happened, but then this happened, so I got him winning. No, it's not going to cut it. And to be honest, man, hearing everybody give Cortez the first round, I know this is taboo and I'm going to say it. It really matters going last. Going last is extremely important. When you're the last person heard, you know, you're the last person heard, and when you're not going last, you're the first person forgotten. And there is a serious advantage in winning that coin toss. I don't care what anyone says. This is coming from somebody that has never won a coin toss. I am always going first. I am never the last person heard. And there is a serious advantage in it. I don't care. There's a serious advantage of it. And I think a perfect example was last night and was Jackboy versus Cortez. I feel like people forgot Jackboy's first round, and then they forgot Jackboy's second round, and then they forgot Jackboy's third round. There's no way you give Cortez that first round. Cortez's first round was full of energy. Cortez had the hype. He had some people behind him yelling for him. He didn't fuck up. It was a great round. But Jackboy's first round is the best round of the entire tournament. So far, there has not been a round as flawless as Jackboy's first, and that took me way out of whack. I didn't give a fuck about the rest of the night, honestly. Because, you know, I get people aren't perfect. I get people fuck up. But that was one of the most obvious rounds that you could have given to somebody. If there was anything that was more obvious, it was Jackboy taking that first round. Jackboy's first round was absolutely incredible. And his second round was incredible as well. But Cortez turned up. I can understand the second going to Cortez. I can understand the third going to Cortez because both of their thirds were weak. So when you have a weak round, you know, even if you think that the other guy was weaker, you still have a round that is considered beatable. So then it, you know, sometimes it does come down to preferences, does come down to feel, because you left that door open. And although Jackboy left that door open, you know, the door was slammed shut in the first round, bolted and super glued in the first round. It wasn't even close. And to hear everybody not even acknowledging how incredible that first round was really just bothered me. It really bothered me.